What's going on? It is Tuesday. You know what time it is. It's time for Kings Speak. It's been a while since we've had a chance to catch up with the Kings, and today I have an incredible guest. So y'all know the drill. Have a seat, get ready for a good conversation, share this with a friend, and let's get into it. Manhood, self-mastery, and emotional intelligence. Why not speak these things with men who I believe are king level men? And why do I say king level? Because they show up every day. They do their work. It's not about being perfect or better than anyone else or rich or any of these things. It's just about men who show up in the fullness of who they've been designed to be and do their best every day. And they're also committed to being better than they were yesterday. So how could you not love that? I got an amazing guest with me. You've seen him before on my channel. His name is Talib Jasir. He is a visionary, a life coach, an author, and so much more. So let's bring him on up. Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. Long time no chat.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. Well, you look good. I'm glad to see you. I love the shirt.
Thank you. You look great as well. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you. Is that one of your designs, or did you get that? Because I need that.
I got this from a friend of mine. I'll put you on. His name is Conscious out of Brooklyn.
Okay, Conscious. I'm with it. Make me a little tank top or something. Well, this is amazing. I wanted to connect with you. Of course, you were one of the first people I thought of. You're just so amazing. Your work is good. And I often go back and look at some of our conversations, and I'm just like, they're just so good. And we see so many other things on social media. I want to make sure to balance the scales.
Thank you.
Yes. So how are you doing? How have things been since we last connected?
Things are well. I have the conference is coming up, and that's Afros Audio Podcast Festival, the conference I founded. That's coming up in October 21st and 22nd in Baltimore, Maryland, which is my hometown. And so that's keeping me real busy, a little stressed, but real busy. And so that work has been good. Looking forward to being back with our community, our podcast community there. And just working on creating and experiencing life in different ways, experimenting with life in different ways. And so that's where I'm at right now.
I love it. So we got to talk about your project, Say Less, your book, but it's also like a visual slide. You got to break that down for me, because I did look at what you sent me. It's so profound, and it's really simple yet profound. So tell me about, it's so good. I'm so excited about it. So tell us about Say Less.
Sure. So Say Less, as a creative, I'm one of those creatives. I have been in the past anyway, where I will start some stuff and put some stuff down real quick and move on, to the next thing, uncommitted to it, not even really knowing where it fits in my life. It's just something that at the time I wanted to create, so I did it. And so this year I decided, and I put this in kind of my intro to the book, I decided I believe in as a coach, as my philosophies are the 4 C's, right? We either create, we're consuming, we're contributing, or we're chilling. All right. Yeah. And so I know how to chill real good.
Listen, you got me on that one. I was like, I got that.
Right. Consuming is super easy, right? I can watch television, I can watch a movie, I can listen to music, other things that other people create. And contribution, that's life. That's what I do. The work that I do, Mastermind Connect, Afros Audio, all these things. I mean, constant contribution to my family, to myself. So I think that I know that all of us have the opportunity to activate these in different ways when we need them, percentage wise, whatever. Sometimes we really do need to chill. Translation rest, right? Sometimes we contribute to get outside of ourselves and to focus up on other folks, to not be the center all the time. But creating for me is something that I've always loved to do. And it's something that because of all the other things I've kind of let slide for a while. And so I just wanted to feed my soul, and that's what I did with this book, Say Less. It is a book of, I call them haiku adjacent, because if somebody with some real haiku education, they'd be like, that's not haiku, sir. So they're haiku adjacent, but it's pretty much my my thoughts, my inner thoughts, my audible rambles. My poor wife, she gets it a lot. But also I wanted it to be a book about curiosity and critical thought and all of these things, where I'm not saying much, but I'm saying enough for you to think, think about life, think about self, think about the world that we live in. And it's over 90 pages of really, to me, just awesome thoughts.
Like, Talib, it's so good.
I appreciate
I'm wildly impressed
Thank
because
you.
it's something I struggle with. I'm very wordy and I've got to
Mhm.
talk with my hands and I need to use analogies. Whereas, like you said, first of all, haikus is like 2 lines. Like,
Yeah.
it's haiku-ish, but it is enough to be profound, to give you thought and make you think, and it resonates. So if it doesn't hit you, it makes you think. If you're not
Mm.
thinking about it, you want to expound on it. If you're not expounding, you want to talk about it. Like, every single page slapped. And I sat down with the whole thing and I looked at it.
All right. I appreciate it. Did you listen to the mix too?
So I didn't, my stupid thing wasn't downloading, so I didn't get the
Okay.
mix, but I knew it was gonna be good.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure it marries perfect, but I'm gonna have to get my life
Absolutely,
together.
absolutely. Mike McConnell actually created that mix for me. I asked him to do a music interpretation of the book, and he created it, and it's dope. Mike is dope.
I do. I know Mike. I love
Right.
Mike, and I just, I really love that I got the opportunity to connect to you guys, because let's see, I met Mike in 2013. I have this picture of us and I felt like we look like kids. So much is going on since
Nice.
then,
Yeah.
and it's just like, again, when I think of king level men and the type of men I just like to be connected to, as much as possible, like, y'all have been so consistent, even with Mastermind Connect and everything that you're doing. And it's for the culture, it's for the community, it's for your family, it's for you, it's for brotherhood. And it's, I feel like sometimes we're not all, unless you're in the mix and you can really see and know, I don't think everybody's privy to the kind of work that brothers like you are really out here doing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think people, can be quick to act like there is a gap in the market. And it's like, no, you need to check out these guys. There's people who are doing the work.
Right. And the work is really about getting people to care and getting other folks to want to get involved, because there is plenty to get involved with, and so much to be distracted by. So,
oh my goodness,
how about get involved?
How about that?
Right. So, but we'll see. We're it's a movement, and I do see a lot of change, a lot of difference in our communities. And it's a good thing. It's a beautiful thing. I'm excited about the future.
Yeah, you better make your mark, your legacy on this world.
Word.
I love to see it. So I picked out just a few of the ones that I loved from Say Less. So maybe you can expound on a couple of them, or share like where your mind was at. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I loved Virtuous Silence, Hearing, Evolved Listening, Self-Discovery.
Yeah. That's all about being comfortable in our own silence, listening to hear, which we've all heard, but truly listening, truly being in a space of wanting and desiring to understand what someone else's perspective, someone else's filters, because we all have them, right? We all have come from different places in the world, raised by different folks, in different environments. And as much as we are the same, all of us are different. All of us are unique and individual. And so my way of being, especially in the last, I would say 10 to 15 years, has been to not be selective, not be, exclusive when it comes to people, but really listen and understand, because inside of that, if you heard the term Ubuntu, we learn how to be because of one another, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are because, I am because you are, and you are because I am. And so with that said, being able to listen and hear and be comfortable in that silence, even when you have something to say, right? You said it already. Let somebody else talk. You know? Yeah.
It's true. And we don't know how much we do it. And I'm a big dictionary girl. So I looked up virtuous, having or showing high moral standard. And I like that, virtuous silence, because it and then to add in hearing, evolved listening, it just reminded me of being present on another level. And even if you don't know what that level is, putting the effort to do so that you can receive.
Absolutely.
Something that you may not have been thinking about, or even if you think you were thinking about it, maybe just hearing it. And like you said, the listening will allow you to receive on a different perspective, which in turn, if you're listening on that level and it means something to you to do so, and it's evolved, then self-discovery is a byproduct of that naturally.
Absolutely. And evolution is.
Yeah. So here for it. So here for it.
Right.
What was another favorite? Ooh, this one made me feel away. I was like, ooh. So this one says, you were wrong for assuming to know me before you did.
Yeah. That happens a lot, doesn't it?
It happens so much.
Right. Just by nature of you being here and speaking your truth and sharing your vulnerabilities, people think they know you. They don't know you. You know, they don't know me, right? And so and so I'm very vulnerable. I'm very honest about, and I'll use vulnerable loosely because it's a word that people use, but I work to be very honest and transparent with people because I don't want you to get me effed up, right? And I realize that if someone gets me effed up, it's not because they got me effed up. Somewhere I steered you wrong, right? Somewhere I didn't represent myself honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that being said, and in terms of this, I try to be very honest about, don't put me anywhere but where I tell you to have me, right?
Yeah.
Your expectations of me, they won't match because I'm me and you're you, and your expectation, I wasn't even privy to it. You just had it in your head, right? Mm-hmm. So and so that's just a statement. It's a statement to people that believe that they know me. It's a statement to folks I've had to say that to before. And it's a shot. Like, do that. Don't assume you know people. Get to know people. Start to listen to people.
I mean, isn't that supposed to be the fun part? Like,
yeah, the curiosity of it all, the
curiosity of it all, I definitely, when I heard that, I did think, personally, I've been on the giving and receiving end of something like this unintentionally, right? Especially, absolutely. We always bring in social media, but it really does kind of make people feel like they know more than they know. She eats this, she acts silly, she's whatever. And it's like, oh my God, there's so much more. Like, I have a real life. There's 24 hours of the day. And Instagram wasn't even around barely 10 years ago. Like, I am grown. Like, there is a lot, And so I think people misinterpret, and in the judgment of it all, you're scrolling and judging, right. People, I think unintentionally, start to formulate these box and bulk ideas of it, just in general, of people. Oh, well, this is her. She's this. This is this type. This is,
It's how we're socialized to engage. It's our rules of engagement with one another, and that's half our problem, right? Is that we really get to pause, listen, reflect, be mirrors, and understand that what I've told you. That's it.
Yeah. That's it. And I even had to think about that in dating. I've had to learn to slow down.
Word up.
Like, girl, his representative is amazing. Mm-hmm. So is yours. You accept your flaws. You're going to have to accept his. So why don't we get to know just a little bit about what that looks like to see if there's some compatibility to this chemistry?
Yeah.
I feel like we have to give people a chance. Maybe not everybody's like me, but I know that resonates with somebody, because some of us be like, oh, I love him. And you met him yesterday. Like, right. And it's like, oh, now the guy is like feeling all the pressure. Like, I got to be this thing. And it's like, no. I really don't know you. but I'm willing.
Yeah. No, I
Because you'll
feel,
get it wrong.
yeah,
I
most
love
times.
that.
Yeah.
Most times. Yeah. I mean, I'm still getting to know myself, so. Let's see. There was two more, but I'm gonna do one more. Let's see. That kind of piggybacks. So what was this first one that I saw? I really like this. And it was slide 1. Step into liberation. Be your own wildest dream and call it justice. That made me feel powerful.
That's what it's meant for. That's why it's the first page.
Yeah.
Yeah. We get to like, this is life. And you've heard me say this before. Life isn't short. It's the longest thing. It's in the book. It's the longest thing that you or I will ever experience. And so with that said, we get to pursue what it is that we want to experience in this life. And if we're not doing that, then what are we doing? There's some statements in the book that shows you what you're doing instead. But
Absolutely.
It's one of those things where we hear all the time that we are our ancestors' wildest dreams, and we are in a lot of ways. Just look at the riverboat brawl.
Don't make me get my chair.
Right. But we get to be our own, right? Our ancestors also, when they were able, right, to live individualized lives, and we are. I can speak for myself when I listen and I think about our ancestors, especially those that came through during the civil rights movement, where they had the agency, but they also had the cloud of supremacy and Jim Crow and all these things, but they still pushed through. They still rose. They still pushed through, and so and they had their own wildest dream. And they became it. You think about all of them. You think about Maya Angelou. You think about James Baldwin. You think about Toni Morrison. You think about all of these folks on this big scheme of things. I mean, despite it all, they were their own wildest dream, and they got to call it justice. And that's what we get to do.
Yeah, I agree. I love the action of it. Like, step into liberation. This is very actionable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can step into your freedom. You don't got to stay back there in the imaginary chains you think you're in for whatever, lack or, whatever the mental jails that we put ourselves in due to maybe whatever we've been through in life, maybe something passed down, ideas from parents, maybe a situation that we went through and we never got past the idea of why it happened and the weight of it. But to step into liberation is like a move forward. It's a movement. And then to be your own wildest dream, that's what it is. Like, what are you waiting for? Like, What is it that you would be waiting for to create a life that is literally coming through you? You can step into it. There's a freedom to it and call it justice. Like, we may not have gotten fair treatment, and we can, whether it be, again, childhood, our ancestors, the people who came before us, it may not have been fair, but it can be fair now. I really feel like being your own wildest dream is an equalizer that you have the power to do. And that should be very liberating. That's very powerful because it's in your hands and it's something you could do now with what you got.
Absolutely. It's yours to do. It's going to be work, right? Because we're socialized, and there's a chapter in the book called Constructs. And so we are steeped in that, right? But when we're able to step into it with work, possibly with some earth medicine, we're able to push through that and see ourselves in a way that we may never had prior. And it is freeing, and it is justice.
Yeah. Like, I'd rather do that than complain or feel stuck, or, it's not to say that things don't happen, but who do you want to be? Where do you want to live?
Yeah.
In this longest, shortest thing that we get to do called life.
Right. Absolutely.
So I love that. And then, of course, the title, Say Less. I mean, when I was looking at it, I'm hoping to see, like, I don't know, I want to print these joints and put them on the wall in my extra bedroom. Like, I need posters.
That's what the physical book is for. It's coming.
Yeah, I need all of that. So
yeah, I appreciate
kudos to you. Yes, for getting back to creating. You deserve it, and we do too. We're all here at the same time. We want to see your stuff.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, really, really good. So you guys check out Say Less. We'll get into where you can find everything, but of course you see his name here on the screen, so you can go to the Instagram, and it's available for purchase now, right? Link in bio.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Pre-order for the physical book starts September 1st, but you purchase it now, you get the digital experience and the mix. That's about 55 minutes long, and it's dope.
You need it. You need to do it now so you can get the digital situation. It's so.
And shout out to thank you, and shout out to Michael. Kill me if he's watching. Lovers of Now is the name of his song, the soul of his songs is Lovers of Now. So and he created that. He's on SoundCloud and on Instagram, Lovers of Now.
I'm so here for it, getting all the way into it.
Yeah,
so good. So I mean, we've been through so much. I think the last time we connected was like 2021. Like, what are a few things that you've learned about yourself from then until now?
I've learned that I still need work and support and systems, right? That allow me space to be and to receive love and experiences. And I've learned that I am capable. That's something that is something that I have struggled with most of my life because of situations and my past and my childhood and these type of things. But I've learned it on the outside, it looks very glamorous, right? But on the inside, it that low those things that stick, right? That space of low self-esteem, that space of fear and scarcity, and all of these things can still exist at the same time. And the goal for me is that it doesn't sideline me in any way, right? And so that's the work piece. I've learned that I am happy. You ever knowingly, you might not feel it when you're feeling the heaviness, but when you feel the lightness, it's almost like, hey, it's not heavy anymore. It's not. I don't feel so heavy this morning. I don't feel so disgruntled. I don't feel. And I joke with my boys about being my own boss and being my own disgruntled employee. Yeah,
I know the feeling.
But it's one of those things. I'm happy. Me and my wife are good. My children are good. My life is good, and there's more to be desired. But one of the things I learned, that I have been so stuck on this idea of scarcity, because I learned it, I understood it, it made sense. I have been scarce in my life. But what I didn't realize, that I had moved from scarcity to greed in a way, because I have everything on my plate. And it wasn't as if I saw what was on my plate and I wanted more. I didn't see anything on my plate and I wanted some things on it. But my plate is already full, and I didn't see that for a minute.
Wow.
And I have friends that people would, kill for. I have, a beautiful wife, a loving wife. I have, children that love me, my family, I have businesses, and everything is not sweet, right? But everything is at a level where I have what I need. And so if I can work with that, then I can build on it in a space of peace and healthiness, and not in a space of I don't have, so I need. And that was killing me slowly, actually.
Wow. I mean, so much was said there, and I completely understand, because I find myself needing to be aware of the same. There's always more.
Yeah.
We're always looking around. You could always have a bigger house, or more. We could just keep going forever if we really wanted to. But to take those moments, and you named some of the most incredible things. It's one of the first things on my list. My friends, like, what? I'm rich off that alone.
Yeah, word.
Because I don't know. This is life, and we're adults, and I know, unfortunately, there are people who don't even have it like that, and just the community that I get to lean on, that I've cultivated, and we get to lean on each other, it's priceless. So that
Yeah.
alone is something to be so grateful for, because no matter how much money I do or don't have, like, we're gonna be together, and that is just,
Right.
and we're gonna figure it out and whatever we need to do. So that's so bomb. And I love how you shared that you were happy, because I was gonna ask you that when you were talking about just like the receiving of things. I had a conversation last week with a man, and I was very curious, like, dear men, are you happy? And a lot of men don't take the opportunity not only to receive, but to think about being happy. Like, what is that? I have to take care of this. I got kids. I got a wife. I got, like, we'll cheese later, I guess. Like, but
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I loved hearing that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's those are things, those are tangibles. And I think it's important for us. I'm glad you asked that question, because I think it's a question that each of us almost get to ask ourselves more than just once a year, when we're reflecting on that December 31st and we're looking back, right? There's an opportunity every day to look, be tangible, touch the things that you're grateful for, tangibly touch it. It's a game changer. And so yeah, I'm very content. I'm very happy with the world falling around me, including in my own stuff. You know what I mean? Business is business, right? So yeah, the world is falling. It's crumbling. I know that to be for sure, but I get to step into my own wildest dream and call it justice.
That you do. I mean, period. It's so true. And another thing that I'm seeing in what you're saying is and I feel like with men, if I observe, sometimes I feel like happiness is equated to like what you have and what you do. But when you change the perception of what you have, and like the things you named, your wife, your friends, kids that love you, all of these things, like, maybe men would be more happy if the perspective of where they're allowed happiness shifted a little bit.
Yeah,
like,
for sure. That's the work. That's
depending on what you're looking at, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the other, the serious men sacrifice the optimism of foolish boys, right? And so, yeah, it's one of those things where foolish boys experience life, right? We're talking about boys. We're talking about that instinctual, that natural way of being, that isn't yet repressed, oppressed, or suppressed by anyone, right? And by the time we begin, and I say serious men and foolish boys, but it's genderless, right? Because at a certain point, to a certain extent, right, to a certain point, we start to get told that we need to be more serious in whatever way it looks, however it's said. And it starts early. It starts, when I'm still falling and crying, and I'm supposed to not cry, and I'm like, but it naturally came out my damn eyes because I'm hurting. Right? I understand what you're talking about right now. It's natural, but you get taught, right? You get taught, and and then you start to perform seriousness, much like the other men in your world is performing seriousness, right? We sacrifice one another over and over again, because we are the example. We are a living example, not only to our boys, but to other men, and so and to other people. And so, with that said, there is a need to move away from the socialization and the constructs that are killing us in every way. And I feel like if COVID taught us nothing, right, and the dismantling of so much and the bogusness of so many constructs that we learned, I thought we couldn't work from home ever. Oh, okay, now we can. That's interesting. Who would have thought it?
Who would have thunk it? Yes.
Right. So all of these things, and that's just one example of the when the cracks appeared, right, into our socialized ways of existing and experiencing life and being. We've sacrificed a lot for things that we don't even know why and where they came from. And And again, that's the work. And so I encourage us to do our work, all of us to do our work, because it will bring us into an evolved way of thinking that will only support us and the people around us, you know?
Yeah. And while you were talking and kind of breaking that down, because I was going to ask that, serious men sacrifice the optimism of foolish boys. But now that you're explaining it more and I'm thinking about it, it kind of makes me think personally about like falling in love for the first time. Like you think it's cool. And then love is like, no, you better think just a little bit. Like you can't be that foolish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like that first time you fall in love, it's so reckless in the most beautiful way because you don't know that you could fall and you could get your heart broken. Somebody can leave you. Somebody is not only going to not meet your expectations, but they could break your heart. Like there's all these things that sound super unbeknownst to you because you're just thinking like, we love each other. We're going to be together and we're great. We're having fun, period. And you have no idea. When I was 19 years old, I didn't know anything about no childhood wounds, the relationship with your mother, how you believe about it. Listen, I could go on and on about the stuff I was never even thinking about.
Yeah.
So now it did kind of introduce a seriousness of sorts where it's like, should I give this man an application so I could even see like, like, should we even be eating together?
Yeah.
But when you say do the work, I'm also finding like, all right, where's the balance? I can be foolishly serious and have fun and
absolutely can. Foolishly serious is actually one of the best ways of being because I mean, dating is a social experiment. That's all it is. You meeting people that are in the world and you in the world, and then you meet and you talk to each other, right?
Yeah.
And you might do something more and you might not. It's a social experiment. The seriousness of it creates a lot on it. The foolishness of it allows space for you to mingle and mix and interact with other humans in this world, right? With little to no expectations because nobody owes you anything and you don't owe anyone else anything until the time comes where you create agreements between one another.
That part.
Right. And so you learn what to be serious about, right? But everything ain't worth being serious about. And that's the work.
That's the work. Hope y'all wrote that down. Oh my gosh. So, we touched a little bit on community. So what are some ways that having a healthy community has blessed your life and brought favor to it?
It's expanded me, in every way. Every person that I meet, every person that I listen to and I get to have a conversation with and that receives and accepts me at the same time, it's expansive, right? It progresses me. It elevates me in every way. Recently I've become somewhat of an outdoorsman and you blame that on, Mastermind Connect.
Yeah. I love it. Can't be Connect.
And so being able to continue to grow, continue to be curious about life, even at my big age, is super important. And not only that, my community in the podcasting world with my conference, it's just one of those things where everyone I meet expands me, changes me, right, shapes me, and gives me the permission to do the same. And so for that's community. And if we don't, and again, if COVID taught us nothing else, when we were sitting in our house with no one around us because we were alone, right? And we might have done trashy stuff to other folks and ain't nobody calling us because they in their bag and you and yours, right? Mm-hmm. Community is and people are necessary. If nothing else is real in this world, people are, and community in that regard is super important and sacred. And it's up to us to nurture and foster and to get intentionally what we need. There are times where you have to realize that you need a new list. You need a new circle.
Yeah.
And you go be intentional about getting that new circle. And that new list of folks that you can talk to and lean on and build with, and not stay stuck in situations that don't serve you. And because that goes beyond romantic, right? That goes for everybody that gets the privilege of being in your space and you there. So community is everything to me, because it brings the world, in, you know.
Yeah, I mean, so well said. I couldn't have said it better myself. I probably couldn't have even said it like that, but it resonates.
Yeah, that's what's up.
And it's so true. Like, it's so valuable. It's always been one of the most valuable things to me. But, you know, when you speak of the expansiveness, even every day it becomes more important. Like, you know, what's up, Mike? He's in the building. I miss you, friend. We talked about Say Less for a little bit, you and your music offerings.
Word.
I love it. Yeah, so it's a beautiful thing. So how do you brought up something good, and I always think of friendships and how you nurture them and elevate your circle, so to speak, and whatever comes about. It's almost like pruning a plant. Like when certain things are just, it's getting a little yellow or brown, you just got to cut it off and new things will grow. And so how would you suggest someone go about magnetizing to them the type of community they need to thrive?
Well, it's what I said just a few minutes ago. Really, it's the intentionality of it. Understanding what you need. And at this point in life, for all of us in 2023 and beyond, it's time to begin to listen to ourselves and shut out the external noise, the articles, the blog posts, the news, whatever it is that tells you how to be, when intrinsically you know who you are and how to be. You might be neglecting it, you may be negating it for whatever reason. That's the work. Get on it. But if you are able to recognize what it is that you need as a being, as a human being, then intentionally go after it. They're out there. People are out there that you can relate to and talk with and expand with. But if you stay committed to something that doesn't work for you, we all have choices. I respect people and their choices, but be intentional about what you
know. That's so good. And
Yeah.
I want you to expound on that just a little bit, because I was going to ask you, what are some barriers that keep people from genuinely and authentically connecting with each other? You did bring up we get very committed to things that aren't serving us, and it's like lack of awareness and even more. What would you say some of those things are that keep people from genuinely connecting with others?
Yeah, well, for me, and I know what did it for me, was mattering, right? I didn't matter to myself, so I wasn't mattering to nobody else, right? And so I'm not going to come to you and try to be your friend when I don't matter, right? So you're going to see that I don't matter, and then it's going to be a bust, right? So mattering is our first. Matterings create self-destruction in a lot of ways, right? We don't show up in people's lives in general, people that love us and care about us, because our own mattering conversations. We don't show up in our children's lives because of our own mattering conversations. And so being willing to, and willingness to me is one of those things that I really harp on as a coach, as a person who's just talking to folks. We got to be willing, right, to move it forward, to change a life that isn't working for us, to change an experience that we don't want to experience anymore. One of the things that I did in one of my, I would say, prior to my hero's journey of mine in 2015, 2016, I was kind of, in the bed, and I'm thinking to myself, if you don't wake up tomorrow, is this the experience you want? Is this how you wanted it?
And that often.
Yeah, and if the answer is hell no, then I get to shift or not.
Yeah.
Or not. And I will continue the cycle of experiencing a life that is not mine and doesn't belong to me. And so I encourage folks to assess from our reality is where is our cornerstone. We can build everything off our reality. Okay, so when you are really clear on what's going on, what's not working, what does work, what we like, what we don't like, and truly listening to that guide, I believe we can do anything. And
Yeah, I love that.
Create the life we want, create the relationships that we want.
Yeah, the mattering. It's major, because how can you be clear about what you want and don't want if you don't think that that matters? Like, almost back to the happiness conversation. If you believe your value is only in items and things that you can purchase and how much money you're making, you'll miss the value of the beauty of the depths of your friendships, or love with your wife, or your, the love of your children and things like that. So if your perception is off there, how do you even know who to connect with, why you're connecting them with them?
Yeah.
If your value system is off, and you don't know genuinely what matters to you or why you matter.
Right.
And that's why the work is so important. I can't even imagine living my life without the work. I just don't desire to be that lost. And I don't mean it negatively for people, but like you said, I don't want to, if today was my last day, just be in a space where I didn't give it my all and I didn't get out there and really do this thing to the best of my capacity. God is within us. You got the I am on. Mm-hmm. So if I am, then I am.
Yeah. And I'll say something to that. I am, and my belief and philosophy is 100% creative and inventive. Oh, that's in the book as well. I just remember that. But yeah, it's 100% inventive and creative, meaning that I make up, right? I make it up every single day. And when we don't recognize that, and I really want, the folks that are listening, is that I've had my head up my ass and screwed in really tightly, where you have to get something to get it off, and get it out. Right. But which was the work, But yeah, it's so I give grace, right? I give grace. I'm not entitled to other people's journeys and when they come around and when they do their work or what have you. I give grace. I meet people where they are. But I encourage and I implore folks to get up to the life that you want to experience. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing but allowing external ideas, beliefs, socialization, constructs to determine the outcome and experience of our lives? We've done that for so long, and it's time out for that. It's time out for that.
That sounds like injustice.
Yeah.
That's the real injustice.
Absolutely.
So, with all that being said, I mean, we're people who are willing to do the work. And like you said, people come to what they come to when they do. And that's fine. Everyone's allowed. What do you think some of the ways, what are some of the ways you think could help people navigate that fear of being open to the kind of change that is available if they get their hands dirty and do the work?
Say that first part one more time.
What are some ways that you think people can navigate the fear?
The fear.
Open.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's a challenging thing. Fear is crippling. Fear is debilitating. Fear will stop you before you start. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things that there has to be this willingness, right? Bob Marley said it best. He says, "Our fear is our only courage." It's the way forward. Fear is going to be there, right? The only way to get over the fear is to collect new evidence about yourself, about the world, about the people that you engage with. I have a client that I coach, and we were going to be talking about business and all this sort of thing, and then we just realized that relationships were his main issue. And if trust could become his base level, when he has no trust for anyone ever, then what kind of experience could he begin to create for himself? Because once you have trust as a base level, it speaks to a clarity in self, right? It's not talking about naivety. It's not talking about trusting and not validating. It's talking about really saying that I'm going to use trust as my base level because I'm unfuckwittable. And F with me. Finn, we it's good. You good, I'm good. But it doesn't, I don't have to change my way of being. I don't have to change who I am. I don't have to get jaded off another human being who simply didn't have the capacity. That's it. They didn't have the capacity. Yeah. If they had the capacity, they would have done something different. It's really cut and dry, right? If somebody knew how to do things better, they would do things better. If somebody knew how to do things different, they would do things different. And that's inside of right and wrong. That's inside of a person that you perceive that should understand, right? Clearly, if they had any other understanding besides the one that they have, they'd be doing something different. So, and that can be unpacked a little bit more, but hopefully you get what I'm saying and you're tracking with me. So, so it's one of those things we just not just is not the word, but we get to be willing, right, to push through it, because on the other side of scarcity is abundance. On the other side, right?
Literally. Yes.
We just gotta flip it and not be so afraid to lose that we don't gain anything.
I mean, no, you said it so perfectly. You kind of took the big bad monster out of it. Like, does it hurt, with like for your client? Because I actually come across that a lot too. I've been life coaching and I'm doing such a good job and having such a good time. And it's so amazing. And, I do actually have, male clients, and I kind of try to share the one thing, the same thing. Cause I have one, he deals with a lot of trust, and I understand. It hurts when someone breaks your trust or betrays your trust, or you put a certain level of effort into somebody and they betray your trust, or it feels like I get it. It hurts. But when do we get to the point where living inauthentically hurts more?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what are we going to do about it to face the things that we think are so scary? But like you said, just become unfuckwittable. Like, I know it. Nobody's perfect, including myself.
Yeah.
People could do what they want to do. I could do what I want to do. We're all free. That's what love is anyway.
Yep.
Whether you're with somebody you trust or not, you better be ready to let them free. And just do what is required to fill in your own holes and your own spaces so you can get on out there and give it a good old Boy Scout try, because otherwise, are you really willing to live the rest of your life without the beauty that's on the other side of this thing that you don't want to touch?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And love is fluid. I mean, love is always a gamble. It really is. I mean, you could be with someone and it's beautiful and something occurs, something happens, a sickness, an illness happens, right? There are all sorts of ways to break a heart, right? All sorts of ways. And we've created a bunch of them ourselves as human beings. We've created a lot of the ways in which we can break our heart. Like, we set it up.
Yeah.
We did it all.
If my favorite Haagen-Dazs bars are not available and I really want them, I'm a little heartbroken at the end of the night. I needed that.
Respect. But you created that desire and that want.
That part.
But it's okay too. We get to have those desires and those wants, right? But yeah, it's love is fluid. Love is a gamble, and it will always be, no matter who you love, whether it's a friend, whether it's a partner, whether it's your children. But why not risk that part? Love is so amazing in so many ways. And when you allow love in, it's nothing like it,
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm definitely in that space in my life right now where my intention is to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I know what that looks like and what that means for me. And there was definitely a season where I was like, no, we're just doing comfort and cozy. I don't want to hear anything. I'm not going to be doing hard things right now. I'm tired. So.
And that's okay too.
Yeah, exactly. I needed a minute. We're not stepping in these zones. Right. We're not doing any of that right now. But now I'm like, no, I took myself to a place and did what I needed to do to know that not just in word, but in action and beingness, finding the balance and the harmony within myself. That's like, oh girl, you're going to be just fine. Like, you can get out there and do something that scares you now.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, is to be able to look at yourself, whether you do it for real in the mirror or you do it internally, but we're okay. Like, every day above ground, like, you are okay.
Listen,
you have another opportunity. You have another day. You have another minute, another second to do it different, to experience something different. But you must be willing and you must be intentional, because intentionality accelerates it all. If you're intentional, then you can create what you want. If you're just aimless, then who knows what you're gonna get? You just catch
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you got to be intentional and you got to be willing.
Yeah. No, so good. So true. So, well, we touched a little bit on like, men, but how do you feel like men are reaching out for brotherhood and healing these days? And what does that look like behind the curtain? And I mean, I feel like, with Mastermind Connect and being a life coach and coaching men, you would know that best. I think sometimes we have an idea that, I don't know how comfortable therapy is for men, or if men are really sitting down and are like, yo, I'm struggling. Like, because I feel like a lot of men were raised to kind of keep that in. So how are men reaching out for brotherhood and their healing, and what does it kind of look like?
Yeah, I mean, they are. I mean, I think that one of the things is that we get to be more of an example than running our mouths and trying to convert folks into healing or a peaceful life, or a life without chaos and confusion, because that exists. But a lot of people don't know that. And so I think one of the things that's occurring in our lives, and maybe it has something to do with the constructs being dismantled in a lot of ways during COVID, where self-reflection, our ways of being in the world, where we literally measured ourselves up against the things that we were doing, right? If we went to work, we may slept at a bar, people know us, I know them, my friends come over. It's just me and me now. You know what I mean? It's just me and me, right?
Man.
And so with that said, I've got some things to think about. I've got some things to consider. And so I think more than ever, men are reaching for support, reaching for friendships, reaching for love. Now, this is not true. There's there's somebody that I could be talking to right now, and he'd be like, oh, yeah, I'll slap you in the mouth talking about I'm rooting for love.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's still a thing, right? It's still a thing. But for me, I've always been of the mindset, thanks to a professor of mine, that everybody can't go because everybody don't want to go. And so I'm worried. I focus up on the folks who reach, who reach for support, and allow each of us to then be an example. Right? It's a trickle down effect when we get our shit together.
It really is. And we appreciate it. Men appreciate it from women. Women appreciate it from men, human to human. It's much appreciated, because I think you said it earlier in this conversation, something to the effect of like, we all come up. We all, it helps all of us when we are doing the work and we're doing well. Everybody benefits in absolutely. One way or another, whether it's through our interaction, our creative offerings, the list goes on.
Yeah. Agreed.
I love that. That's good. I'm happy to see it. I'm glad that it's become part of the conversation, because, like my dad, my uncles and people like that, they were never like, I don't know, I know my dad didn't grow up with a father, and he's actually done an amazing job to undo whatever he felt like he needed to do to keep our family intact. But, sometimes I just wonder, is he okay? Does he, because I know I have all these questions, and sometimes I think I have more questions than he does, but they're not used to asking. So it wasn't a thing in, 1960 when he was born. So
yeah. No, it's a cycle, and that's absolutely that whole seriousness part where we begin to perform. We begin to perform a lot of things that we see that aren't healthy, that don't create a healthy space in ourselves, but it makes sense because this is what's around me. And to be otherwise is putting a target on your back in a lot of ways, especially in a lot of our communities. And so there's simply a lot of work that still gets to be done with our young people. I'm going out this weekend to facilitate a youth camping trip in New Jersey, and with my Camping to Connect brothers. And it's one of those things where we get to be an example of being unserious men in the woods, right? While choosing to be serious about keeping them safe and keeping ourselves safe, right? But nothing else, not doing no extra stuff that makes them think that they are not enough exactly as they are, And
powerful.
Yeah, it's work. It's work, but we're getting there, and I believe that.
Yeah, because aside from the, the destructive things, the overtly destructive things, we're using the word performance, but I see that a lot too. And it's like, I feel like your face might be cracking behind that mask, like
Yeah.
just to be the Christian guy, or the guy who's faithful, and this is what I'm supposed to be, and this is what a good model citizen of a man looks like, and you're just walking through life like
right,
doing the things and
not
like
experiencing at all, right? Not experiencing
yeah.
at all, and creating more and more chaos and confusion inside internally, because it is not authentic to you.
Yes.
And so it's the work is being done, and the work continues.
Yeah.
Yeah, the work. That's for sure.
Yes, I think we're feeling it. I
Yeah.
think we're feeling it. We're like,
Yeah.
F this doesn't make sense. I don't want to do that no more.
Yeah, we've learned, and even my wife and I discovered this early on. We've been together for 18 years now, and it was like, we know how to function and dysfunction. That's easy.
Right. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
We do it every day. We function inside of dysfunction every single day of our lives, inside of our relationships, inside of our dynamics, inside of ourselves. But once we learn how to be functional in ways that support us as individuals and as collectives, it's a game changer.
Game changer. And I'm willing to get uncomfortable for that. I'm willing to do what it takes to create that kind of harmony in my relationships.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, it's not always going to be a cakewalk, but after you do the walking, you get to eat the cake. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
So my last thing for you is, what are 2 skills that you feel like are non-negotiable in order to thrive in this current climate?
Critical thinking.
Oh yes, please.
I've been in a space recently, kind of being a little frustrated with the conscious community, because it seems void of critical thought in a lot of ways.
Oh, man.
And but that's that's a thing. But and in no judgment, because like I said, I've been there. I know that space. I understand where folks are. But critical thought is a skill that we need to really focus on as we move forward.
Y'all see the seriousness in his face?
Yeah. As we move forward, we need to get some real critical thought about our society, our relationships, right? I wouldn't be in a relationship for 18 years if I was serious the whole time. Because
right.
Yeah, my ego would have killed this a long time ago, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So we got to be in that curious space of continue to create the life that we want. So critical thought, absolutely. And then learning how to build a damn fire and a shelter outside, and know how to source clean water. We living in a time that, as Martin said, the day of the Geechee is a coming, right? So it's time to start learning a little bit more than how to get to the grocery store when we out, and I'm dead ass about that, right? It's time for us to begin to become a little bit more resilient, recognize that the cheese has indeed moved and it's going to continue to move. If anybody knows that book reference. And so we've got to be our own source in every way, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, and from sustenance, sustainability. This world don't love us at all.
It's insane.
And so, we've got to love ourselves enough to love one another. And so, learn some outdoor skills, please, and teach everyone in your household once you learn it. Whoever learns it first, teach the rest of them.
I was gonna say we might need to get a Camping to Connect for girls. You might have to have some of us women out there, because what?
It's real. It's real.
Like what?
Yeah, it's
Besides
real.
a match and some wood, like I don't know about rubbing sticks together and doing the whole, like somebody gonna have to help.
We don't either. We don't either. We figure it out. We figure it out. That's for damn sure.
Right. I'm
Yeah.
willing though. I will go fish. I will grab a fish. Do I need to grab a fish? Like, what are we doing? 'Cause I like to eat. Yeah.
And that's the beauty. That's the curiousness. Being curious,
Yeah.
in life, you know, and continue to explore. So yeah, get critical thought, learn some outdoor skills, please and thank you.
I really think that is like we could just button it up. That's top notch. That's the perfect way. So full, and there was so many gems, and yeah, that's it. That's so good.
I
I'm
appreciate
so glad you were able to spend time with me today. You know,
Yes.
thank you.
Yeah, Jamie, you're dope. I love speaking with you. I love these conversations. We get to do more of it. And yeah, I appreciate you for having me here today.
Yes, thank you for your time. And let's tell the good people where to find you and make sure they grab a copy of Say Less so they can get their digital download.
All right, for sure. So you can go to Talib Jasir Talib Jasir on Instagram. My site is Forward Movement, fwdmovement.org. And you can find the book there.
Beautiful. Get that book, y'all. It's so dope. Like, he didn't pay me to say that.
No, you didn't. And I thank you for that. I was telling my wife a little bit earlier, I was like, the longer it's out as a creative, I start to get less and less connected to it, but I want to stay very connected with this project because I do think it's dope. So I appreciate you affirming that.
Good. I hope it circulates in a way that you'll never forget about it.
Thank you.
That you'll always be reminded. Yeah, in the best way.
Yeah. All right.
Yes. So thank you so much. Thank you for all of you who tuned in and commented and shared. If you love this, share it with a friend. Like it. The deal. Subscribe to my channel. I'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific time for Black Love Lens with the dating and relationship consultant and Yatu Marvel. And we'll be back next week with Kings Speak on Tuesday. So thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next video.
All right. Peace.
Bye.